Hello, I'm here with Chapter 7 of Slacker. Chapter 7, Freeland McBean. So, if you haven't noticed yet, every chapter is written from a different person's perspective. So, we've had several chapters from Cameron Boxer's perspective, him telling us what's going on, but the title of each chapter is the person that's talking. So, chapter 6, we heard from Cameron Boxer again. Now we're going to hear from Freeland McBean, who we haven't met yet. I got a D- on my essay on To Kill a Mockingbird. It didn't bother me. At least I didn't flunk, which wasn't bad considering I didn't read the book. How was I supposed to know that Harper Lee wasn't one of the Duck Dynasty guys? Anyway, I got a 12 out of 67 on my math test, and I did flunk that. It didn't bother me. Actually, I was amazed I got any of them right. I got a big fat 0 on my social studies presentation because I didn't do one. It still didn't bother me. Mr. Silva held his extra help sessions after school when I had football practice. First string McBean didn't miss football for anything. Then Coach called me in his office, and that did bother me. Because it wasn't to tell me about the highlight film catch I made last week against Edison. One-handed, tiptoeing on the sideline, just in bounds. It was to tell me I was off the team. String, he said. Everybody called me String. You're off the team. It was like being blindsided by a linebacker. If there'd been a linebacker in our conference good enough to take down the String. But coach, why? Academic ineligibility, he said sadly. Academic what? String, you haven't got the grades to stay on the team. Actually, you haven't got the grades to walk upright. What do grades have to do with football? You know, on our jerseys where it says Sycamore Middle School? Well, the school part is about grades. You don't pass, you don't play. I was in agony. Yeah, I know that, but nothing, Coach told me flatly. You're off the team until your grades start getting better and you're better in class. You can't do that to the String, I protested. It'll ruin my life, or even worse, we'll lose. I don't make the rules, kid. Improve your grades and we'll take you back. Improve my grades, just like that. Oh, how's that ever going to happen? I might be able to work with you on that, Freeland, came another voice. For the first time, I saw there was somebody else in the room. Coach always said, when I'm talking, your eyes and ears are on me. That was probably why I never saw Mr. Fanshawe, the guidance guy, sitting in a chair in the corner of the office. How could I ever forget him? He was the only person in the whole school who didn't call me String. Maybe that was a guidance thing. They didn't do nicknames. I was a drowning man, thrashing for a life preserver. Mr. Fanshawe, help me out here. I'm not a student. I'm a football player. Thing is, Freeland, you have to be both. Here it comes, I thought. The lecture on studying and working hard and becoming a well-rounded student athlete. The only rounded thing about me was my helmet. What Mr. Fanshawe and even Coach didn't understand was this. I didn't have bad work habits. I had no work habits. Or at least none that didn't involve catching, blocking, or running a tight pattern. If Fanshawe thought I was a dumb guy with Alvin Einstein trapped somewhere inside, then he was the dumb one. It's Albert Einstein. Remember we talked about his brain? Not Alvin. Another thing Coach always said in football and in life, the only thing was result. It didn't matter what you said you could do or what you had the potential to do, just what you did. So I was completely honest. Mr. Fanshawe, I can't get good grades. I couldn't get them in kindergarten, and I can't get them now. I'm just not smart enough. Coach got mad. I don't want to hear that kind of talk come out of your mouth. You can learn a playbook. You can read a defensive scheme. You're smart enough when it suits you. Fanshawe made his pitch. You only have to raise your grades a little bit. Nobody's asking for straight A's. That is, if you top it off with some really impressive extra credit. I didn't know what that meant, but it sounded like hope. Extra credit? He smiled, reminded me of the guy who'd sold Dad our last car. Have you ever heard of the Positive Action Group? The story he told me lit a fire in my heart, which had been frozen solid by the idea of being shut out of football. There was this club, the PAG. I forgot what they did. But it was definitely good because Fanshawe was pretty amped up about it. If I joined and didn't totally bomb out into my classes, I could get back on the team in time for the playoffs. Where do I sign up? I asked. It was like a cloud had come to rain on Mr. Fanshawe's good mood. Well, the sign-up sheet isn't posted yet, he admitted, because the posters aren't ready. I'm not sure what's taking so long. The boy who put it all together is obviously a visionary, but he's a little short on action. To be honest, he's hard to figure out. I think he might be an after-school job, because the minute school ends, he's gone with the wind. Spit it out, Coach interrupted impatiently. Is String going to be able to do this or not? Of course. All he has to do is talk to Cameron. He turned to me. Do you know Cameron Boxer? I did, and he didn't exactly strike me as the club starting type. Cam was one of those gamer nerds. He hung out with the brainiac Pavel Dyson and the dweeb Chuck Kinsey. Truck tried out for the football back in 7th and broke 3 fingers in the first minute of the first practice. The team still did a modified version of his scream before every kickoff. Did the String belong in a club with a guy like that? Man, if it got me back on the Sycamore Seahawks, I would happily join the church ladies' knitting team. For some reason, Fanshawe was still hemming and hawing. And Daphne Leibowitz and I waited in the art room for 2 hours, but Cameron never showed. I said, I'll talk to Cam. Really? He seemed almost grateful, like I was offering him a lifetime instead of the other way around. Now, remember, you have to be firm with Cameron. And off he went into another long speech about how it was hard to pin Cameron down because his mind was working at such a high level. I'll pin him down, I promised. When a string pins you, you stay pinned. It wasn't that hard to find Cam. The String had connections. Ziggy, our quarterback, was dating this cheerleader, Shailene. Well, her cousin's ex-lab partner in science, Dominic, was also in Cam's last class of the day, health. So I sprinted to the health room right at the bell. Fastest time in the 40 in country history. No one ran like the String. Props to Cam, he was pretty fast too, but I dashed past him and blocked the exit to the parking lot. I'm in, I told him. He looked completely blank. The PAG, man, I went on. Fanshawe gave me the deets, and I'm totally down. Great, he said, but he might as well have said terrible, because that's what it sounded like. Cam! Chuck came running up, his backpack bouncing in his narrow shoulders. We're still on after homework, right? I can't wait to... He took one look at me and cradled his fingers prospectively. Hi, String. Is he in the club too? I asked Cameron. What club? Chuck blurted. Wait! Oh, that club. The thing is, String... Cameron was working really hard to choose the right words. The PAG is really complicated. I'm not sure we can put it together for this year. I could feel my eyes narrowing. We're 8th graders. What other year have we got? He was sweating now. It takes time to iron out all the details. If we're going to do it, we have to do it right. You're jerking the string, right? I leaned into his face. The string doesn't like to be jerked. The PAG is my ticket back into the Seahawks. I need it. And when I need something, there's nothing more important than what I need. I wasn't sure if Cam was getting my point, but I was definitely making an impression on Chuck. You have to do it. He's the string. And then Cameron Boxer did something that nobody else had ever done. He faked me out. He started a nod in agreement, ducked under my arm, and was out the door and gone, pounding through the parking lot towards the street. Oh, sure, I could have run him down from behind, but I needed to get to the gym to stay in playing shape for when I rejoined the Seahawks later in the season. There was no doubt in my mind that Cam would come through for me. Nobody dared to let down the string. The end. I will see you guys later for Chapter 8. We're back to Cameron Boxer.